great hurrah over here in the United Kingdom. Absolutely right now, all thanks to the major tabloid headline featuring the fact that Prince Harry, of course, is no longer speaking to his father, His Majesty the King. Worse than that, as we told you here on the show, letters go unanswered, and basically, the King himself is very concerned about any correspondence or indeed any formal conversation. This has all been brought on by Harry and Meghan predominantly themselves. And when you think about it, it's just stupid, isn't it? Because now you've blown any chance of any sort of mediator, conversation, that sort of thing, all because you know in the background that Meghan Markle is listening in. You see, Charles was very, very concerned about this way back, because if you remember when Harry wanted to leave and formulated Megxit as it was, Meghan was going to dial in from Canada, do you remember? And of course Her Majesty the Queen was supposed to be just made available to have that conversation with, of course, Meghan and Harry while she was over in another country. Unbeknown to them, what could have been recorded, what could have been used. Very swiftly, that was shut down. But that's something that Meghan has never truly forgiven the royal family for. Why should she have to put herself out and come all the way over from Canada merely to speak to our head of state? You understand, our sovereign. Fascinating when you think. What I also find fascinating is this, because now Harry's slowly waking up to the stupidity of what he's created himself. And this is all down to the fact that when you think about it, it was a simple thing that he believed and literally reiterated on a recent documentary over here in the United Kingdom. One that's seen, well, tempest flare, as we only know too well, with His Majesty the King once again. As ever, let me explain. Only good to see you today. You all right? We're on the banks, as you know, of the River Thames, beautiful River Thames. Over here, of course, the Houses of Parliament, and yes, you can just see a little bit more, and Big Ben at the end. It's all looking very thundery and cloudy, because it is going to be. I know, a little bit nervous about that, if I'm honest now. We don't want to be struck down by lightning, do we? What do you mean we do? No, of course we don't. I don't mind a little bit of thunder, but I think it can be frightening for many people. And I always worry about the animals, because of course they don't know what's going on, do they? It's a bit like firework night. I always think that's really daunting for them, but there you go. Of course, lots of fireworks continue inside the British monarchy. And this was all down once again to the stupidity, and there's no other way of describing it, to of course the former well known as Prince Harry. You see, time and time again, he points out that about his close relationship with our late and wonderful monarch, Queen Elizabeth II. If you recall, of course, he came over to London and claimed that he was there to see that the right people were around her. All the while, of course, dumping her to go back off to California, thousands of miles away. If the right people were meant to be him, why wasn't he staying to protect her? But that's the stupidity of Harry. Now, what's got really His Majesty the King and, of course, His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, Prince William, very infuriated, was the fact that once again he decided to, well, infuriate everybody by basically bringing in our late monarch once again. You see, the interviewer, Becca Barry, basically said, what do you think, Her Majesty the Queen would think to all of this? Perfectly normal question. And basically he said, well, no, she would have encouraged him to carry on. The bottom line was she would have said, go all the way to the top. Now, everybody knew and everybody knows, including Prince Harry, that would not be the thing that, of course, the late Queen would have said. She would have told him off for being stupid, draw a line under it and move on. But of course, he can't really admit to his own stupidity. And as I said, this particular vex, this particular anger, goes back all thanks to one thing and one thing only. Meghan couldn't get over being wiped away from that particular meeting. She could not understand why she was not allowed to take part. You understand? And of course it goes even sadly on the deathbed of our late monarch, when she wasn't allowed to go up with Harry in the plane and delaying every single person along the way. This woman is trouble with a capital T. Hence the reason, of course, that Harry had to bring that up literally in print, in, of course, television land, so that basically she could see that he was sticking up for her about how the late monarch obviously loved Meghan, thought she was fabulous, and that she would want him to carry on. That's not the message that I'm receiving over here in the United Kingdom from the inner court. But more importantly for Harry, perhaps deludedly, he thinks it. What's actually happened is he's put yet another nail in the coffin of any chance of open talks and, one might say, minor reconciliation. As I often say here on the show, truly, how stupid can you get? Neil Shaw, Parliament, London.